Welcome back, everybody. You are watching XRP Clarity, the channel that keeps it real, keeps it straight, and never leaves you guessing when the market starts moving. I'm your host, and if this is your first time here, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and buckle up, because what we are about to get into today is something I have been watching build for weeks. And right now, right at this very moment, things are starting to click into place in a way that I genuinely did not think would happen this fast. So let's not waste a single second, because if you have been sleeping on XRP, today might be the wake-up call you did not know you needed. Let's start with the biggest thing happening on the world stage right now, because you cannot talk about where crypto is going without talking about what is going on geopolitically. There is a major meeting that has already taken place. We are talking about high-level discussions inside the Situation Room regarding Iran and the United States. This is not speculation. This is not some rumor floating around on social media. This happened. And what we are watching unfold in real time is one of the most important diplomatic moments in recent memory. The brinkmanship, the back and forth, the will they won't they tension between these two nations. This is exactly the kind of macro environment that directly impacts risk assets like cryptocurrency. And if you have been following this channel, none of this should come as a surprise to you. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, okay, what does a potential peace deal between the United States and Iran have to do with XRP and the price of crypto? And that is a completely fair question, and I'm going to answer it right now. When you have geopolitical tension like this, what happens is investors get scared, money pulls back, risk assets get punished, people rush to safety. But the moment that tension breaks, the moment a deal gets announced, what happens? Money comes back out. Energy prices drop because the threat of conflict in oil-rich regions fades. And when energy prices drop, when oil crashes down in cost, suddenly risk-on assets like crypto start looking very, very attractive again. That is the direct connection. That is why this matters deeply to every single person watching this channel today. And here is where it gets really interesting. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again right here. I believe we may have seen a generational low. I said it clearly on this channel when XRP dipped down to $1.26. I told you that dip might be the bottom. I told you it might just sneak by everybody. Like people waking up one morning going, wait, how did that happen? How did we miss it? And you know what? That is exactly how generational lows work. How? They do not come with a giant neon sign. They do not announce themselves on the front page of the news. They slip in quietly, they shake out the weak hands, and then they rocket. And what have we seen since that $1.26 low? We are already pushing up significantly. That is not luck. That is reading the setup correctly. Now let's talk about what a peace deal actually means for the broader market. Because the ripple effect here is enormous. If the United States and Iran come to an agreement that holds, and I want to be real with you, we do not know how long it lasts. Could be months, could be years, could genuinely be a decade-long framework if everyone sticks to it. But if that happens, oil prices come down hard and fast. And when oil drops, inflation pressure eases. When inflation pressure eases, the Federal Reserve has more flexibility. And speaking of the Federal Reserve, let's talk about Kevin Warsh, because that name matters more than most people realize right now. Warsh has signaled he intends to hold rates steady, and his approach draws comparisons to Alan Greenspan. Steady-handed, measured, market-friendly. That combination of a potential peace deal plus a rate-steady Fed is exactly the kind of setup that makes markets go absolutely crazy in the best possible way. And here is the thing about what we have been watching on the charts. The technicals have been screaming. I had a buy zone clearly marked out. I told people this is where you want to be looking. And we hit it right on the nose. The people who were paying attention, the people who were in the right place with the right information, they went from $1.26 all the way up toward $1.36 in roughly 48 hours. That is an 8% gain in 2 days, based purely on reading the setup correctly. That is not some overnight miracle. That is what happens when you combine solid technical analysis with macro awareness. When you understand that the chart is telling you something, and the world events are confirming it. and you have the confidence to act on what you see instead of hesitating out of fear. Let's talk about what I am actually watching for in the next 24 to 48 hours, because timing matters here. I believe, and this is based on everything I am seeing, that a deal announcement is coming very soon, possibly as early as this weekend. If that announcement drops, here is what I expect to happen. Energy prices fall, certain stocks that have been getting hammered because of high energy costs start to recover, and crypto, including XRP specifically, gets a wave of risk-on buying. Now I want to be measured here and not overhype it, because the honest truth is this: crypto is still waiting on something bigger. The Clarity Act. That legislation is the real unlock for the kind of massive, sustained institutional money flow that will take XRP and the entire crypto market to the next level. A peace deal is a tailwind. The Clarity Act is the engine. And that is something I have been hammering on this channel for a long time now. The Clarity Act, the regulatory framework that finally gives crypto, and XRP specifically, a clear legal status in the United States. That is what billions of dollars in institutional capital are waiting for before they commit fully. You have seen the data. Over the past 2.5 weeks, billions of dollars have actually left the crypto market. You can see it on the charts, the hesitancy is real. But the moment Congress moves on that legislation, the moment we get clarity, and I do mean real regulatory clarity, not just talk, that money comes flooding back in, and the assets that are positioned correctly, that have the fundamentals and the network behind them, those are the ones that absolutely explode. And XRP is right at the top of that list. Now let me shift gears for a second, because I want to talk about what has been happening on the trading side. Because this week was something special. I went 11-0 on live trading. 11 plays, 0 losses. Every single one day, Arkisi on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. In front of everybody. Live, no edits, no second chances. Every play made money. I called out ZOM puts and IBM calls to the Earner Plus members on Wednesday, and by Friday both of them were deep in the green. I personally put $990 into the IBM call and walked away with $3,782 in 48 hours. Now I share this not to brag. I share it because I want you to understand what is possible when you are reading the market correctly, when you are using the right tools, and when you have the right community around you. The wins are real. The system works. And it is not about copy trading, let me be very clear about that. Yes, I share my plays. A lot of members follow along and do great, and I love hearing about it. But the bigger goal, the real mission of what I'm trying to build, is to teach people how to see these setups themselves. I was a teacher for almost 2 decades. High school, some college classes, even coached bowling. And yes, you read that right, bowling coach. I love it. I own it completely. But teaching is what I do. It is in my blood. And when I moved from the classroom to finance and trading, I brought that same mindset with me. The goal is not to hand you fish. The goal is to teach you to fish so well that you never go hungry again. That is what the Discord is about. That is what the live sessions are about. I want to take a moment here and get personal with you because I think it matters for you to know who you are taking this journey with. I did not come from money. I did not grow up with advantages. I grew up on government assistance. Government cheese, homemade iced tea, lemonade with plain sugar, because that is what we had. And honestly, it was normal to us. We did not know we were poor. My grandfather on one side did not finish 8th grade. My other grandfather didn't finish past 4th or 5th grade and worked on a farm with no shoes as a kid, literally potato sacks on his feet. So when I show up on this channel and try to help people build wealth, it is not from some ivory tower. It is from a place of knowing what it feels like to have nothing and choosing to fight your way out of it anyway. I slept in my car. I am not saying that for drama or sympathy. I am saying it because it is true, and because some of you watching right now are going through something hard, and I want you to know it does not define your ceiling. I was in college. No money for food, no money for books, borrowing textbooks from classmates just to read before class. I showered at the gym because I was an athlete and could get in that way. I never told my parents, never told my friends. I just kept showing up, kept pushing, because what other option is there? You either quit or you find a way. And I found a way. I always found a way. And I believe you can too. And I think crypto and financial education, when done right, is one of the most powerful tools available to regular people who want to change their lives. My first year as a teacher, I made $36,000. By the time I retired from teaching after nearly 2 decades, I was making $63,000 a year. And I was the union president, negotiating contracts for my colleagues, giving up time with my family to fight for the whole school district. And you know what I got extra for that role? $1,500 a year. That is it. $1,500 for all of that time, all of that effort, all of that sacrifice. And I want to be clear, I am not bitter about it. I loved what I did. I believed in it. But I also learned something from that experience, and it is something I want every single person watching this to burn into their mind. Financial freedom is not about being rich. Financial freedom is about having options. It is about being able to walk into work any day of the week and know that if something crosses a line, you can walk out. That is it. That is the whole thing. Because here is the brutal truth. When you are financially trapped, when you need that paycheck no matter what, people know it, and some of them will use it against you. I had a boss threaten me once. It was Christmas morning, my kid's first Christmas, and I got a call telling me to go into the store to check on things because it was windy, Christmas morning. And when I said I would go after being with my family, they said no. Right now or you are fired. Now I know there are always 2 sides to every story. But that moment stuck with me. That moment reminded me why financial freedom is not just a nice to have. It is a form of dignity. It is protection. And it is exactly why I am here, every single day on this channel, working to help people get there. Because nobody should have to choose between their kid's first Christmas and their job. So let me bring it all home right here, right now, because everything I have talked about in this video, the Iran situation, the potential peace deal, Kevin Warsh and the Fed, the Xrp technicals, the buy zone, the generational low, the Clarity Act, all of it points to the same thing. We are in a window, a real legitimate window where the setup for Xrp and the broader crypto market is as compelling as it has been in a very long time. Things are moving. The macro environment is shifting in our favour. The regulatory picture, while still unresolved, is closer to resolution than it has ever been. And the people who are paying attention, who are positioned correctly, who are learning the right tools and staying ahead of the curve, those are the people who are going to look back on this moment and say they were there when it started. And that is exactly what I want for every single person in this community. I want you to be there when it happens. I want you to be positioned. I want you to understand why it is happening, not just react to it after the fact. That is why this channel exists. That is why I show up here and do this work. So if you got something out of today's video, do me a favour. Hit that like button, drop a comment down below telling me where you are watching from. And if you had a good week this week with me, just let me know. Say families here in the comments, and I will know exactly what that means. Have an incredible weekend, stay sharp, stay patient, and let's keep building something great together right here on XRP Clarity.